SOS t-shirt.
Looking
Oh,
good.
yes. So here we go. And we're ready to talk about LinkedIn profiles today, Shawn. Shawn, how are you? And you have a very, very strong LinkedIn, especially your profile. And it's not easy to get started with LinkedIn, right? And that profile is important for you to build that identity in the business world.
I'm doing good, Neil. Hope you're doing well as well. And great looking shirt. Looks great on you.
Thank you.
So yeah, LinkedIn is one of those things that I always talk about evaluations in the military. So your sergeant majors, your E9s, if you line up 10 of them and hand them an evaluation, every one of them is going to look at it differently. And that's kind of how LinkedIn is for me is there are so many quote unquote experts out there talking about LinkedIn profiles and what they should look like, what they shouldn't look like. And, not that any of them are wrong. It's just everybody has a different opinion of what it should look like. And I don't know the right answer. But what I did is over time, I tried out a bunch of things and I changed things. And I'm still like, probably every couple months, I'm changing something on my profile, whether it's decreasing some of the additional information under one of the topics or adding in something or removing something. It's just one of those constant things where you're playing with it and tweaking it and getting it to say what you want it to say at the present moment. So I think you just have to take in what everybody's saying and figure out what works best for you and what tells the story you want to tell.
Yeah, and that's so key is because tell the story you want to tell. And once people see your profile, they're kind of able to understand why you're on LinkedIn if you're doing it right.
I agree. There's a lot of people that say you shouldn't have transitioning service member or your military rank in your profile. I tend to agree with that because I look at that as sort of valuable space. But at the same time, for the longest time, I didn't know what I wanted to do or what I was going to do, so I didn't really know what to put in my headline. So that can be a challenge, and you got to sort of play with that and figure it out. Some people put their values, some people put what they're doing, what they want to do. So you got to play with that and sort of figure it out and just understand that when people look at it, it should tell them something, and what is that something you want to tell them? So once you figure that out, I think you're going to be just fine. And then the rest is all just eye candy, I think.
It's quite interesting when you talk about the profile, especially for a member of the military that's transitioned. You're really in that kind of cusp of really who you are, painting that picture of your life in the military and where you're looking to go next. Explain kind of that whole LinkedIn thing, how you kind of figured it out and carved your niche in it.
So part of it was attending several of the different LinkedIn classes that are out there. Michael Quinn is one who continuously does LinkedIn stuff for the USO, and I've sat through his class and looked at what he says. The military Transition Roundtable. Matt Scher, he has a book out there on LinkedIn profiles, and he'll help you make your profile look more professional. And the list goes on and on and on. Those are just two that I specifically sat through. And so it's basically looking at how people approach it, what they like, what they think speaks well to your target audience, and then going from there. And you know like I said, you line up 10 people, 10 experts on LinkedIn, you're going to get 10 different answers. The one thing I do believe in though is not putting your DA photo, your official military photo in your picture. We have plenty of services out there that'll give you a free headshot, a professional looking headshot. If you're in that part where you're transitioning out of the military, I would take the time to go to one of these events where you can get your free headshot done and upload that there, to your LinkedIn profile and remove the military photo. If you're still years out from transitioning and the military is what you're doing and you're just building your profile, yeah, keep your military photo there. I think because that's what you are. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's so true. What you said, that's where you are, that's what you're doing. And uh, I think that the professional photo is important too, because you want that to seem more professional than Facebook or any of the other platforms, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, You play with it a little bit, right? So I had one in a suit and tie when I was going through the transition. Then I had like a little fun one I did with my dog. I had sunglasses on, so everybody thought it was my seeing eye dog. So I had to take that one down. And then ultimately, we did some photos for the podcast, and that's the photo I use now. So it's a polo shirt. It's not a suit and tie, but podcasting is what we're doing, and that's the look we went with, and I think it works well for what we're doing.
No, I think it definitely does. And I think it's exactly the fit. And you want your persona now to be all about the SOS, not your job, not your day job.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, with all the stuff we're trying to do with VetSOS and how much we're trying to help people and help educate the veteran community and the transitioning service members and spouses on what's out there for them, that's really the whole thing that we're using social media for. And really just hope people check it out and continue to learn from the different guests that we bring on, because it's going to help you do stuff like build your LinkedIn profile and build your resume and, find a job, how to target networking searches, and it's just all those different things that play in a transition. And I just think you know what we're trying to give you, check it out.
Absolutely. And the best way to check it out is very simply, but let's kind of go that final thing. So taking the course, what do you think was the most important thing when you're starting a LinkedIn profile as a veteran?
Capturing as much as you can, because as you go through, there's so many different areas. So a lot of us have education and training and certifications and things like that. Put all that on there, especially even if it's a military certification. If it applies to something you're trying to do after the military, I'd put it on there. Going through and trying to figure out the job descriptions and job title for what you did in the military. That to me is probably the hardest part. And once again, one of those things that everybody has a different opinion on how it should look and what you should use. But trying to figure out how you identify your job as a commander or your job as a first sergeant, or, how you led troops, whatever. How do you capture that so that it speaks to a civilian population? And that's hard to do. So you got to sort of play with that as well. And that to me was the trickiest part, kind of like writing a resume, one of those things that I wasn't really good at. So I had to, get some help and things like that. And, ultimately, when I looked at LinkedIn, I'm looking at that and I'm like, why doesn't this replace the resume? Because you can literally put everything on there that you put on a resume, and it's right there where people can check it out, and then they can ask for references to verify it's all true. So, I mean, to me, I think
Some companies do that
yeah.
where if you're trying to apply for a job on LinkedIn, but it doesn't work for the other things. But I think it really looks at how am I branding myself on LinkedIn so I can brand myself in my resume.
Mhm. Yeah, and every once in a while you'll see somebody post something and people jump all over. This isn't professional. This isn't that. There's things I agree with and I don't agree with, but hey, you do you, and whatever message you want to sell about yourself, that's what you're doing. So, I would encourage transitioning service members to use LinkedIn for the power that it is. Build a network, continue to network, cultivate that network, and it'll help you in the job search process and could potentially even lead to jobs. So, take the time and use the tool for what it's intended for, and you can be very successful.
All right. Best place to go.
VetSOSpodcast.com.
All right. We appreciate it. Thanks again. It was great stuff, Shawn, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, Neil.